Hello, I'm Ben Swap. I've made a video for parents who have kids in high school. I encourage you to talk to your kids about drugs in high school, because drugs are everywhere in high school. There's not one corner that I turn that I do not hear someone talk about what they did over the weekend, and most of it is they did drugs, smoking weed, doing ecstasy, even doing acid. It tears my heart apart to hear this, for these young people, only in high school, doing all these terrible drugs. I encourage you to look in your child's room, because it's your house. Look through it. It doesn't matter if they get upset. It is your house. And I know, in your house, you do not want drugs, and you don't want your child to do drugs. I have a collection of interviews of kids in high school, telling their experiences on drugs. And I hope this helps you to talk to your child about drugs.
Well, my experience with drugs here at school was like, you'll go in like the bathroom and you just like want to do your business and stuff, and like all of a sudden a whole bunch of people will just like run in there and they'll start doing like a drug deal and stuff like right in front of you. They don't even care, and like most of the people don't even realize, and like parents never think that it's their kids that are doing it. They're always like, oh well, my kid's not gonna do it, but you never know. Like, if you see your kid coming home bloodshot and they're like, oh, I didn't get very good sleep, you know they're full of crap. But, like, parents need to get more involved with their kids because drugs kill people. I had a cousin who took ecstasy and they died, like, their first time. And, like, drugs are really preventable if you just talk to your kids and get more involved with them. Just talk to them every day and they most likely won't do it.
I don't do drugs because I think there's like no point to doing drugs. I don't see how you could just waste money to do something that only makes you like stupid. I know a bunch of guys who do drugs, but their parents don't know. And I bet you they would stop if their parents would have took the time to like talk to them about how drugs really do make you dumb and slow your mind down.
And with these guys that I didn't know too well, and one of the guys had a backpack and he brought out a bong and started to smoke it, and it honestly scared me because like I really didn't know what to do. I wanted to get out, but like I couldn't because we were going really fast, and when we got there I got in another friend's car, and then eventually I got home and I had to smell on my clothes, and my dad found out, and like it's really scary because my family's been addicted. Like, not all of them have been addicted to drugs, but there's like alcoholics and like really stupid things like weightlifting addicts, and maybe some kids don't know it, but they can get addicted to stuff like really easy. Like, my grandfather actually tried marijuana once, and I think he's wanted it, but he's not ever gotten it again. So he got addicted to cigarettes, and that's not good because he's had a bunch of problems since, like pulmonary problems. So they say it's a gateway drug, and parents should be like more active in their kids, because I knew this one guy who smoked marijuana a lot, and I'm not going to give his name, but he got in trouble and he's on probation now because his parents didn't even care that he was smoking pot. Like, he brought a bag home and they just said, well, just hide it so no one else can find it.
What's your guys' experiences with drugs in high school?
Well, in my physics class, just the other day, I was sitting in physics class, and there were these two people behind me, and they were talking about how they went to this party, and then they got drunk, and then they did drugs, and then they went out to the desert, and then they got even more high, and they seemed like it was a really fun thing to do, at least however they put it.
And driving while they're high? That is not a good idea.
Yeah, they were saying that driving while they're high was a bad idea. But it doesn't seem like they care about anything, so it's like stupid. And there's this one friend that we have. Her name is, we're just gonna call her Sally. Her name is Sally.
Talks about shrooms all the time.
She does drugs.
And weed. Everything.
Yeah. And she tells us what the effects are and what they do to you, like actually physically what they do to you. She said that shrooms make your brain bleed.
And that is gross.
That's
Onto your spinal cord.
yeah, and she seemed
That's
like
what's
it was a
giving you the
good
high.
thing. She was laughing and smiling about it, and this not something I want my brain to be doing is bleeding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if I was a parent, I wouldn't want that to be happening.
Yeah,
to
the
my
saddest
daughter
thing-
Or son.
The saddest thing is that her mom knows about it and she doesn't really care. So
Didn't
it's
think she knew about
she
it.
does know about it. She
That's
called her
not
mom and
good.
told her.
That's not good.
So it's like, and her mom used to do drugs too, so her mom doesn't really care. So
And she tells on
oh
her
yeah,
cousin when he's thinking about
does.
doing it.
yeah,
When she does it all the time. Parents should get more involved.
yeah. So she does drugs, but she gets mad at her cousin for doing
Similar
chemistry.
stuff.
You know, house-made drugs, LSD kind of stuff. I don't know. I think if her mom was more of a parent and actually didn't do drugs when she was younger, she'd probably
Have a better life.
she'd be smarter.
Not having her brain bleed
Yeah.
onto her spinal cord.
Because that's gross.
Yeah, definitely.
I wish I could show her the future
Yeah, the
and
future's gonna
of
be
what
bad
she
for
would,
her.
you know, what was
The
happening.
risks of what could happen to her in the future.
Does she
Well,
feel like she's in control?
I think so.
Yeah.
She feels like she's in control, but if she had a bad trip on her first time,
But
She-
she still does it.
she would not have been doing drugs if she had that bad trip. She said that it hasn't happened yet, but maybe when it
It
actually
will.
does, it'll scare her out of doing drugs for good.
Yeah.
I hope so.
And is there a lot of kids at high school who do drugs with her?
There are tons of them. They
Ditch
a
school.
lot of them even do it on campus.
Yeah.
which
In
is
the
like-
mornings, I see a whole group right behind this part near our gym. They're smoking some weed behind there.
They
The
always go
security
and
guards don't
smoke.
catch them.
Yep.
They ditch class to go do some drugs.
And they're
That's not good
spending
for their
their
future.
money and their parents' money on the drugs, so it's
Yeah, and what
It's-
if their parents are having a hard time
Yeah.
in life? They're using up their money. They're not going to be able to pay taxes. They're screwing up their family's life.
So with you two guys, who I'm guessing that you guys don't do drugs, that what do you do instead of drugs to get a natural high that these kids at high school should know to do?
well, they hang out with their friends all the time. I don't know why that's not good enough for them.
Yeah.
It's good enough for me. That's what I do. Hang out with my friends, and
Friends and extracurricular activities.
friends are the biggest thing, and they just keep me in line, and we just have fun together. Don't need to get
Band's pretty fun
high
too.
to actually get high.
Those band competitions that we do.
Yeah, we're in band, and
It's pretty. Gets the adrenaline going. It's pretty fun. We don't need drugs after that.
yeah. The point is, we don't need drugs.
Thanks, guys.
No problem.
Well, personally, I've never taken drugs, but I've been at a party with them. And there's this girl, Shaniqua, right, that I was at this party where they were doing drugs. And she did a joint. And, you know, you might think marijuana, oh, nothing bad, you know, it's the basic drug. And, you know, there aren't any serious, like, physical addictions to it. But it turned out it was laced with something, probably PCP. So, she's smoking this joint, right? And I'm watching her. She's going crazy. I mean, she is thinking that she's Wonder Woman or something. And she just walked out the door. And that was the last time that I ever saw her. What had happened is right after that, she got in a car, and she thought that she was some magical fairy, according to a couple of her friends that saw her going into her car, right? And there was a cliff about, I want to say, 5 miles away, and she drove the car, and she thought she could fly, and she drove it right off the cliff. So, you know, it seems like drugs, they're just way too prevalent at school. It's just so ridiculous. I was walking down the hallway the other day, right? And there was this guy. He didn't look too good. He had, you know, the long hair, some nasty clothes, etc., etc. and he pulls a bong out of his locker and starts smoking it. And then the security guards, a couple of them, walk right by and they don't do anything about it. I did not get it at all. It was just, I don't feel safe at school anymore. I don't want to be exposed to these drugs. It feels like that if we keep going down this path, America's just going to fall apart. The world's basically going to end. Drugs are going to take over, and they're going to take over our minds and our bodies and our souls, and the world's just going to end.
Brandon, what's your story with drugs in high school?
Well, Ben, I've never used drugs or alcohol, but I have some people that I hang out with, and they do it occasionally. I mean, they like to have fun, go to parties, things like that. This one guy in particular, he used to be my friend. He was, the all-around, good guy. Pretty cool, made you laugh, fun to be around. But he started partying a lot, just every weekend he'd just go and drink or smoke, and it was getting really old, and he started, his personality, it was just like changing, and you could just tell his whole demeanor was just transformed.
Well, I don't do drugs. They mess you up. And I'm very, very good at athletics. And if you take drugs, you get messed up in all different sorts of ways. You get slower reflexes and stuff like that. I don't want that to happen to me. But my friends, they do drugs. I see them flopping around and whatnot. And they're just getting messed up. They're just wasting their life right now. And it's just stupid. It's just dumb.
I don't do drugs because they're dumb. They make your brain all stupid. And because I've seen some people who you can't focus in class, and they're always getting in jail. In fact, a couple of my friends did drugs and they got in jail for it. They're just stupid. And they just mess you up. They're wrong.
Do you feel like parents should be more involved and this won't happen?
Yeah. If parents are more involved, it would definitely improve the way drugs are used. Because, if parents cared about their children, they probably wouldn't do drugs or anything like that because, they would care. I think most kids do drugs because it gets them attention with people who...
I hope this video helped you to talk to your kids about drugs. And remember, your kid's going to high school, not to school high.